Welcome back. As the conflict in Ukraine enters a critical third year, a significant shift is occurring in the halls of power across Europe. For months, questions loomed about whether European support would waver under economic pressure. Instead, we are seeing a historic mobilization. Total European Union commitments have now surpassed $100 billion, marking a fundamental change in the continent's security architecture. This isn't just about sending surplus equipment anymore, it is about a long-term strategic pivot. Today, we analyze what this new surge in military aid includes, how it changes the battlefield dynamics, and whether it can truly fill the gap left by fluctuating global support.
The heavy lifting of this new aid phase is being led by Germany and the United Kingdom. Germany, once criticized for its hesitation, has become the second largest donor globally, pledging over €7 billion for 2024 alone. This includes the highly effective IRIS-T air defense systems and Leopard 2 tanks. Simultaneously, the UK has committed £3 billion in annual military funding, focusing on cutting-edge drone technology and the formidable Storm Shadow long-range missiles. These two nations are no longer just reacting, they are setting a pace for the rest of the continent to follow, ensuring that the Ukrainian armed forces have the heavy armor and precision tools needed for modern warfare.
One of the most significant aspects of the new aid packages is the emphasis on deep strike capabilities. With ranges exceeding 250 kilometers, European-supplied cruise missiles like the French Scalp and British Storm Shadow have altered the strategic map. These weapons allow Ukraine to target logistics hubs, command centers, and naval assets far behind the front lines. By providing these precision tools, Europe is effectively removing previous red lines that once limited Ukraine's reach. This shift is critical as the war transitions into a battle of attrition, where disrupting the enemy's supply chain is just as important as holding the trench line.
Perhaps the most innovative development is the Czech-led initiative to secure artillery shells. Recognizing that European factories couldn't ramp up production fast enough, the Czech Republic scoured global markets to find 800,000 rounds of 155 and 122 mm ammunition. Over 20 countries have now joined this coalition, providing the necessary funding to purchase these stocks from non-EU nations. This pragmatic approach addresses the most urgent need on the battlefield today: artillery parity. In a war where thousands of shells are fired daily, this initiative acts as a vital bridge until European domestic production can fully meet the demand by late 2025. Europe is moving beyond just shipping weapons. It is now helping Ukraine build its own defense industry. Major players like Germany's Rheinmetall and Britain's BAE Systems are establishing maintenance and production hubs directly within Ukraine. This move is designed to shorten supply chains and ensure that damaged equipment can be repaired and returned to the front in days rather than weeks. By the end of 2024, these facilities aim to produce hundreds of armored vehicles annually. This transition from donor-recipient to industrial partners is a clear signal to the world that Europe views Ukraine's security as integral to its own long-term industrial strategy.
This surge in military aid is not without its domestic challenges. Across the EU, defense spending is rising to meet the NATO target of 2% of GDP, a level not seen since the Cold War. In 2024, NATO's European members will invest a combined $380 billion in defense. While the majority of citizens support Ukraine, economic pressures and inflation have fueled political debates. Leaders are having to justify these multi-billion-dollar packages to an electorate concerned about the cost of living. The question is no longer just about military capability, but about political endurance and whether European governments can maintain this level of spending over the next several years.
For much of the war, the United States was the primary source of military hardware. However, recent political gridlock in Washington has forced Europe to step into a leadership role. The EU's €50 billion Ukraine facility provides a stable, multi-year financial framework that contrasts with the uncertainty of American legislative cycles. While Europe still relies on the US for certain high-end capabilities like satellite intelligence and F-16 training, the old continent is now outspending the US in terms of total financial and humanitarian commitments. This represents a historic moment where Europe is beginning to take primary responsibility for security on its own doorstep.
The final question remains: is this new wave of European aid enough to secure a victory? Analysts suggest that while these packages prevent a Ukrainian collapse and provide a formidable defense, they may still fall short of the overwhelming force needed to reclaim all lost territory in the short term. The aid ensures Ukraine can sustain a long war of attrition, but the ammunition gap with Russia remains a concern. As we look forward, the success of this aid depends on the speed of delivery and the continued unity of the European coalition. One thing is certain: Europe has fundamentally changed its stance, moving from a continent of peace to a continent prepared for a long-term struggle.